What if one sentence could break every chain you've ever known? Not the chains others see, but the ones your soul still hears clinking in the silence. The ones forged from fear, from waiting, from words you never spoke because you didn't believe they had power. Let's begin at the edge of your silence. Not the kind that rests, but the kind that restrains. Some people live their entire lives locked in invisible prisons. They walk, they talk, they laugh, but within there is a muted scream that never reaches the air. Because they've been taught that freedom is granted. By systems. By timing. By someone else's permission. But what if it was never given? What if it had to be declared? The fog doesn't lift because it is told to wait. It lifts because the sun rises. The bird doesn't ask for approval to leave the cage. It flies because it remembers it was born to. Now hear this. You are not waiting on life. Life is waiting on your command. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Your word is your wand, not your whisper, not your hope. Your word. Words are not air. They are architecture. They build. They bind. They break. They bless. And when you finally speak from the sacred place within you, the place that has tasted bondage and still chose breath, you create a new order, a new law, a new field of possibility. This is the law of the word. What you speak from the soul becomes law to the universe. It is not repetition that changes things. It is revelation spoken aloud. And yet, how many live in quiet desperation? Not because they have no truth, but because they fear the power of saying it. To say, "I am free," is to dare the world to try and hold you. It is to step beyond the illusion of waiting. It is to declare spiritual bankruptcy on every lie you've ever agreed with. Here's the truth. The tongue is a divine sword, but most have it sheathed in doubt. They murmur instead of decree. They beg instead of command. They journal but never prophesy. But freedom? Freedom requires a voice. There is a sentence waiting in your spirit. It has been there since the moment life first bruised you. It is simple, but sacred. It is not an affirmation for your mirror. It is a battle cry for your destiny. This sentence will not make sense to your fear. It will offend your comfort. It will threaten the part of you still negotiating with your past. But if you're ready, truly ready, it will set you ablaze. Because real freedom is not soft. It is seismic. It cracks open your agreements with smallness. It shakes the walls you built around your potential. It destroys the idea that freedom comes someday, and places it fully in the now. Close your eyes. Breathe deep. There is a shift happening as you listen. The part of you that remembered pain is dissolving, and the part of you that remembers power is rising. This is the moment. The holy edge. You stand at the silent gate of destiny, and all that's required is one sentence. But not just any sentence. Not something you read in a book. Not something borrowed from someone else's breakthrough. No, this is your sentence. It is forged from your struggle. It carries your soul print. And once spoken, nothing will ever be the same. But first, you must decide, are you ready to be free? Forever. Because this sentence is not safe. It is not quiet. It is not designed to soothe. It is designed to release. It is a holy disruption, a spiritual lightning strike. It does not ask for agreement from your past. It does not wait for approval from your fear. It only asks one thing. Speak me, and be free. Let this sentence form in your spirit. Let it rise like sacred fire. And when it does, don't hesitate. Don't reason. Don't explain. Just speak it. Because the moment you do, heaven moves. Chains shatter. And the field, the infinite divine field, responds to your voice. The world shifts. When the soul finally dares to speak, a bird born in a cage doesn't know it's caged. It flutters. It sings. It adapts to the narrow sky it was handed. And if you open the door, it may still never leave. Because to fly, one must first know they were trapped. This is how most people live. Not in chains of iron, but in invisible prisons made of belief. Walls that echo with phrases like, I can't. I'm not enough. This is just how life is. They don't look like walls, but they hold you just the same. Every time someone told you to be realistic. Every moment you made yourself small to make others comfortable. Every time you quieted your joy, your dreams, your truth, a brick was laid. And slowly, softly, prison was built. Not outside you, but within. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the outer world mirrors the inner. And if your inner world is filled with limitation, your life will obey it. But here is the deeper truth. Most people don't question their suffering. They normalize it. They decorate it. They even protect it. Because pain that's familiar can feel safer than possibility that's unknown. You may not even realize. You're still obeying voices that are no longer present. A parent's fear. A teacher's judgment. A culture's silence. And so the lie grows roots. I don't deserve more. Nothing ever changes for people like me. I'm too late. I'm too broken. I'm too much. Let's call this what it is. Spiritual amnesia. Forgetting that you are a divine being. Fashioned in the image of the Creator. Born with authority, with light, with design. Not meant to survive, but to create. The law of substitution reveals something powerful. You cannot remove a belief by resisting it. You must replace it. Fear is a tenant in your mind. You don't evict it by arguing. You replace it with truth. If you say, I am not worthy, you must speak aloud. I am divinely chosen and eternally supported. Not to convince the mind, but to awaken the soul. The subconscious does not respond to effort. It responds to repetition, emotion, and vision. And every time you choose a higher thought, you weaken the walls. Now, let me tell you a story. A woman once sat in the corner of her bedroom, hands folded, light off. She knew something was wrong. She had a truth buried so deep it pulsed like a heartbeat. But she never spoke it, only whispered it in the dark, because saying it aloud would change everything. And change to her still felt like loss. So she stayed silent, year after year, invisible to the world, but even more invisible to herself. Until one day, she cried out, not because of pain, but because of silence. Because silence had become unbearable. And in that moment, her whisper became a roar. Not loud in volume, but loud in truth. She said, I am not meant for this small life. And the room shook. Not literally, but spiritually. That sentence did not come from her throat. Came from her origin. It rewrote the story her family never could. What have you whispered for too long? What truth lives in the back room of your being, begging for voice? Let's reflect. What have I believed for too long that no longer serves me? Whose voice am I still carrying that doesn't belong to me? What story have I repeated that was never mine to begin with? Pause. Breathe. This is sacred work. You are not wrong for how you've survived. But survival is not your spiritual assignment. You were not sent here to merely cope. You were sent to rise. And rise you will. But not until the lie is replaced. Not until the bars are named and then broken. You may think the lie is too loud, too old, too real. But lies have no power unless you feed them. And truth, once spoken, once believed, shines like a divine fire through every shadow. So let me give you a new word. A higher substitute. Close your eyes. Visualize the cage. Visualize the wall. Now speak this softly, but fully. I am not what they said. I am what God knows. I am not who I feared. I am who I was designed to be. I am not trapped. I am transitioning. I am not behind. I am being positioned. This is how spiritual transformation begins. Not with force, but with substitution. Not by erasing the past, but by overriding it with a new command. You are not too far gone. You are not too damaged. You are simply ready. Ready to remember. Ready to reclaim. Ready to rise. If the lie built the prison, then only a new word can destroy the walls. And the next section of your journey will reveal exactly what that word is. Prepare your heart, because it's time to walk free. There is a moment in the soul's journey where struggle becomes sacred, not because the pain was beautiful, but because it was the portal. Florence Scovel Shinn once said, "You must give the spoken word power, not resistance, not fear, but freedom." This is not poetry. This is a law older than language itself. A spiritual force that has been shaping the unseen long before your voice ever met the air. The law of non-resistance is not passive. It is not giving up. It is a holy surrender, a return to alignment. Resistance builds walls. Surrender opens gates. Imagine your clenched fist, tight, tensed, holding on to what no longer serves. Now breathe and open your hand. Feel the release. Did the air resist your letting go? No. It welcomed the space you created. This is the nature of divine release. It does not come by force. Comes by flow. You are not set free by wrestling with the chains. You are set free the moment you stop pulling against them. This is the paradox of spiritual power. The more you try to push, the tighter the grip becomes. But when you step back, when you breathe and say, I let it go, the energy shifts. Suddenly, the answers you chased begin to find you. The people you needed begin to appear. The timing you couldn't force begins to unfold in divine perfection. Because the law of non-resistance has been activated. There is an energetic science to letting go. When you release what no longer serves you, whether it's an identity, a relationship, a belief, or a wound, your vibration rises. And higher vibration is a beacon, calls in clarity. It invites divine order. It becomes a magnet for miracles. But none of this begins until you speak. Not just with the mouth, with the heart, with the will, with the soul. So now I invite you into a moment of release. Wherever you are, pause. Close your eyes. Place one hand over your heart. Breathe in gently. And as you exhale, say softly, I release all that is not aligned with my freedom. I allow divine order now. Again, I release all that is not aligned with my freedom. I allow divine order now. Feel the energy shift. Feel the weight lift. This is not just a ritual. It is a reprogramming of your spiritual architecture. Because your words are not just sound. They are structure. Every sentence you speak builds or dismantles something unseen. And this release dismantles the prison of resistance. Florence taught that fear clings, but faith allows. You do not need to wrestle for what is already yours by divine right. You only need to align. Not with effort, but with expression. Not with force, but with faith. Now picture this. A door you thought was sealed forever, opening by itself. Chains around your past dissolving into light. The walls you've built from survival now falling like soft mist. You do not have to know what comes next. You only have to release what is not. Release the thought that you are behind. Release the belief that healing must be hard. Release the idea that you must stay where it hurts to prove your loyalty. You were not created to suffer. You were created to soar. And soaring does not begin with wings. It begins with the word. So ask yourself now, what am I still resisting that is asking to be released? What truth have I silenced out of fear? What blessing is waiting for me on the other side of surrender? Let those questions lead you. Let them soften you. And when you are ready, say it again, not just with your lips, but with your soul. I release all that is not aligned with my freedom. I allow divine order now. Let this be your soul's compass. Let this be your silent gate of destiny. Let this be the whisper of release that opens your life. Because freedom doesn't begin with escape. It begins with allowance. And the moment you allow, the divine begins to arrange everything in your favor. The orchestration is already in motion. The next section will show you how to live in this new rhythm, where the soul no longer strives. It speaks. And the universe obeys. There are words that decorate a life. And then there are words that transform it. Some phrases are easy to say. They echo in empty rooms and disappear. But others, they shift the atmosphere. They alter your direction. They pierce illusions and rewrite your path. This is one of those sentences. Most people will never say it. Not because it's hidden, but because once it's spoken, nothing stays the same. It's not casual. It's not soft. It is sacred. It is a spiritual sword. It slices through illusion, fear, and conditioning in one breath. It is the unspoken contract between your soul and the divine. So before I give it to you, I ask you to pause. Take a deep breath. Put your hand over your heart. And ask yourself gently, am I ready to let go of everything that is not truth? Because this sentence is a portal. And once you cross through it, the past no longer defines you. The stories no longer bind you. The false self begins to dissolve. And freedom begins. Are you willing to walk away from what you once thought you had to be? Are you willing to release the comfort of confusion for the power of clarity? Are you willing to let go of struggle if it means surrendering to divine ease? Yes? Then speak these words. Slowly, with reverence, as if your soul is listening, because it is. I now speak the truth of my freedom. I release all that is not divine. I walk forward unchained. Let that settle. Let the sentence echo inside you. Let it wrap around every limitation and dissolve it. This is not just a sentence. It is your soul standing upright. It is your spirit reclaiming command. It is divine law spoken through a human vessel. When you speak it, something ancient within you rises. The part of you that remembers who you were before the world told you otherwise. The part that was never broken, never bound, never lost. It is the sacred you, the original you, the divine idea of you. And now it is being spoken into form. Close your eyes. See yourself standing in front of a mirror. Not a physical one, but a mirror of truth. In it, you see every identity that was placed upon you. Every belief that was not yours. Every fear you carried that belonged to someone else. And then, as you repeat the sentence once more, those false forms begin to fall. One by one. I now speak the truth of my freedom. I release all that is not divine. I walk forward unchained. And in the mirror, you no longer see the weight of the past. You see light, clarity, power. You see your divine self rising. This sentence has an energetic frequency. It dismantles the prison of programming. It summons the law of substitution. Because when you release the false, the divine rushes in to take its place. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn meant when she said, "There is no truth in bondage. I am free in the name of the divine plan." She wasn't just affirming. She was commanding. She was invoking the divine order that was always waiting. And so are you. This moment is not just emotional. It is energetic. It is cosmic. You have declared freedom. And freedom responds. Doors begin to open. Chains begin to fall. The divine orchestra begins to rearrange your life in real time. Not because you begged, but because you aligned. The one sentence changes everything. Because it changes you. And when you change, reality has no choice but to follow. Let these words stay with you. Not just as a declaration, but as an identity. You are no longer speaking from the wound. You are speaking from the soul. And the next section will show you how to walk forward in this new freedom. Not hesitantly, but boldly. Unchained. There is a moment after release that no one warns you about. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is quiet. Still. Almost unfamiliar. You've just spoken the sentence that set your soul free. And now, in the silence that follows, you may feel an unexpected stillness. This is the divine void. It is the sacred space between who you were and who you are becoming. And for many it feels like emptiness. But it is not emptiness. It is space. The space where divine timing begins its quiet work. The space where alignment unfolds without effort. The space where all things sacred start to form. Do not rush to fill this space. Let it breathe. Let it stretch. Let it become the holy ground on which your new life will rise. This is the place where miracles take root. But first the soul must rest. It must allow. Because when you finally let go, when you stop resisting, when you stop managing what was never yours to carry, the divine begins to move in. This moment may feel like floating between two worlds. You are no longer trapped, but you're not yet familiar with the light. And that's okay. Imagine a river that has been held back by a dam for years. When the dam finally breaks, the water doesn't flow calmly at first. It rushes. It stirs. It carries debris and memories and forgotten dreams. But soon it finds rhythm. It becomes clear again. You are that river. And now that you've let go, you are returning to your divine flow. This is the moment to ask gently, what just left me? What is no longer mine to carry? What do I now have room to receive? Let these questions guide your journal. Not to figure things out, but to listen. To witness the silent rearrangement happening within you. Because your soul is not empty. It is open. And in that openness the divine can speak. Speak softly to yourself now. You don't need volume to be powerful. You need presence. Try this affirmation as you place your hand on your heart. I walk forward by divine guidance. My path unfolds in peace and purpose. Say it again. Feel it fill the space that fear once occupied. Let it become the melody your life now dances to. Your nervous system may still be searching for the old rhythm of chaos, but your soul is tuning to something new. Let it. The law of substitution is at work. As you let go of fear, love rushes in. As you release control, ease begins to flow. As you surrender confusion, clarity is born. You do not have to force the next step. You only have to trust the unfolding. Begin simple spiritual practices to ground this new freedom. Take silent walks. Let your feet touch the earth. Let your breath become prayer. Stand before the mirror each morning and declare, I now speak the truth of my freedom. I release all that is not divine. I walk forward unchained. Repeat this declaration at sunrise for the next 7 days. Let the rising sun become a symbol of your own rising. Each morning you are more aligned. Each morning more is revealed. Each morning your path becomes clearer. Do not fear the unknown. It is not your enemy. It is divine timing in disguise. There is no rush now. You are not late. You are not behind. You are in perfect rhythm with the divine orchestra of your life. Remember this. The moment you stopped resisting, support rushed in. Angels aligned. Obstacles began to dissolve. The right people started turning toward you. You didn't have to beg for it. You only had to align with it. Now is the time to rest in that knowing. Now is the time to trust the new current carrying you. Now is the time to stay soft, open, aware. This is not the end of your transformation. It is the beginning of sacred flow. And in the next section, you'll learn how to walk in this freedom fully, so that wealth, love, purpose, and power become the natural reflection of your soul's divine alignment. You've let go. Now let grace lead. There comes a sacred moment when the journey no longer whispers. It commands. You began in silence, bound by fear, chained by old words, waiting for something to change outside you. But something awakened. You felt the call. Not to fight harder. Not to fix what was never broken. But to speak. Not just any speech. Not noise. Not performance. But truth. Sacred. Raw. Uncompromised. This journey was never about overcoming darkness. It was always about declaring light. You stepped out of hesitation and into holy power. You learned the language of divine law. You touched the law of the tongue. You surrendered into the law of non-resistance. And now your words no longer repeat your past. They command your future. Pause. Breathe. Look at who you've become. You are not the same person who first pressed play on this video. You've been rewired. You've been returned to your original setting. Free, divine, unstoppable. This is not a performance. It is not emotional hype. It is truth that has waited lifetimes to come through you. And now, in this moment, you are ready for the final word. Not a closing, but a crowning. The language of a soul that remembers its power. Speak this now with authority. With your head lifted. With your breath steady. With your energy aligned with the divine itself. I no longer whisper my truth in fear. I speak with the voice of freedom. I am free. I am divine. I am new. Again. Not quietly. Declare it. Speak it from the fire within your chest. This is your soul's command to the universe. No more delay. No more shrinking. No more explaining your worth. You are now the voice that changes the room. You are now the one who blesses your life. With words soaked in heaven, you are now aligned with a force that bends time and opens gates. Your life will not go back to what it was. It cannot. The field has been instructed. The heavens have heard you. The atmosphere has shifted. When you speak this way, mountains move. When you declare like this, your next level rushes toward you. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. This is what divine power feels like. Not arrogance. Not struggle. But clarity. Certainty. Freedom. Let today be your testimony. Let today mark the day you stepped into your true voice. Go now to the comments and write, I no longer whisper my truth in fear. I speak with the voice of freedom. I am free. I am divine. I am new. Let heaven see it. Let others witness it. Let your own eyes read your liberation. This is how you seal it. This is how you shift from student to speaker. From victim to vessel. And now as the sky opens, As light breaks through every cloud that hovered over your life, as the temple door of destiny swings wide to welcome you, know this one final truth. The soul becomes free the moment it speaks as if it already is. Say it again. Believe it. Live it. Your voice is no longer a question mark. It is a key. And you've just unlocked everything.